the things that guys are going through for the last 3 weeks, and some of the breakthroughs and the homework from week three. And let's see if we can continue to make some awesome progress tonight. So welcome to the Law of Attraction Master the Mind workshop.
Awesome. I'd like to start if that's okay with you all. I went over the training. Thanks, Ryan. I went over the training again today, except for about the last few minutes. I didn't get a chance to finish it up. But I really, and I mentioned this in the chat, I really want to talk about the exercise that Ryan talked about. There was only about 10 minutes left in the module where he stated some things about you, and you were to decide whether that was full-on truth, full-on lie or hurtful, or somewhere in between. So you gave it a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being total truth, 10 being it's a lie or it hurts to hear that, or like I said, anywhere in between. And one of the things, and I want to hear from everybody who did that exercise, if there were things that came up where you were surprised at the answer that kind of popped into your head, if things had maybe changed from where you were before, if it brought to light some things for you. Because going through the exercise, first of all, I did it wrong because I was thinking the 10 was a lie and the 1 was the 1 was a lie and the 10 was the truth. So I was doing it backwards, but same difference. I went through it again today and I'm like, oh, I did it backwards last time. So I did it again. And one of the things that surprised me is there's still a lot of work I need to do on. I had a lot of improvement on some of the affirmations. For me personally, the "you are beautiful" really became more of a truth for me, because I've been working on personal development, because I've been working on my health, because I have had success with losing weight and getting more healthy as far as my labs are concerned, not just the outside but the inside. And so when the "you are beautiful" came up, it was more of a truth for me. It wasn't a 1, but it was more of a truth for me than in the past. It would have been more on the backside, the negative side of being more of a lie, or that I didn't feel like it was truth. I still have a lot of work to do as far as money is concerned. When the "you are rich" came up, it was really very much towards untruthful. I hate to say lie because it seems so I don't know, it seems so bad. But it was a. Oh, were you gonna say something, Ryan?
I was.
Okay.
Because I mean, there's lies. We tell ourselves lies all the time. I mean, every there is no truth and there is no lie, just as there is no good and there is no bad. You know what I mean? There's
right.
no right or any wrong. But because we're always telling ourselves lies. It's just which lies serve you? Which lies serve you, and which lies are ones that aren't serving you. So,
are there lies that serve us?
Yeah, we look at the word lie as negative.
We do.
Our society, and as we grow up, we just look at the word lie as a negative word. It holds a negative connotation. However,
it does.
You can say an affirmation's a lie. All right.
Yeah.
It's a fun lie you tell yourself because you believe it. Right.
Right.
So
true. Good way to think of it.
So yeah, I just wanted to pop in there.
Okay. So the affirmations about money, like "you are rich," "you are successful," tended to be still a little bit more on the untruthful side. Not like it's a lie, but I'm having trouble believing it. And so I know I need to work on that more. I know I need to say those affirmations more. I know I need to visualize more. And so it was a really powerful exercise, which all of them are. But this really stood out to me as far as a powerful exercise this week. So I kind of was interested in what how other people on the panel have, their experience with that exercise, if things surprised them, if things were, different than they were before, that kind of thing. So I'm gonna pass it off whoever wants to open it up, and I'm gonna mute myself.
Sure, I'll say something, Linda. I know when the first time I went through, I found a lot of stuff, like when you take the one, I Am Rich, the first time I took that, the first time I went through the module about 5 months ago, the first thing I thought was rich was money, right? So I considered that wealth. And, some other people might say, hey, you know what, Kevin, you are rich as far as money goes. But, my perception of where I'm at, so some of that is your perception of where you're at as opposed to, where you want to be. Then the other thing I think it was Cindy, I think it was your post that you had, it said, what is wealth? I think that was your post, right? It kind of makes you think about, I am rich. Is it really money, or is it I'm rich and I'm very lucky to have the things that I do? Do I have things in abundance? So you start perceiving it differently. It's kind of like successful, right? When I read that the first time, I said, I was thinking all in terms of, how's my MLM going, right? And so my first response was no, not so much. But when I took it again, am I successful? I'm successful at a lot of things, but my business is not where I want it to be. But that doesn't mean I'm not successful. So I think my perception has changed a lot the more you go through it, and the more you go through that positive thinking, you tend to appreciate the things you're doing better. So the things that you kind of rate down there at a 3, those numbers will change as you go through, and especially since you're doing stuff like this course, helps you to appreciate the things that you do have, and bumps those numbers up a little bit higher. And again, that when Ryan was saying before that we think of lies as negative, and I always thought of lies as negative, right? Thou shalt not lie. And so it was always it's one of the 10 commandments. You don't lie, so it's always been perceived as a negative thing in my mind, but yeah, that's what I experienced when I was going through that resistance test.
That's awesome. That's a great point about being at your perception of what the definition of rich is.
Did you take your medicine?
What the definition of success is, what the definition of rich is. And very good point. You may not be rich when your first thought of it, you think, mansion and a yacht, or, whatever that, vision is. But you could be rich in other ways. You could be rich, like, you have more money now than you did whenever. Yes, you have more, you are rich compared to where you were. You are rich compared to where your parents were, your grandparents were. So that is a great point. So anybody else who wants to jump out and tell us how the exercise went?
I would love to point out with Kevin. That was interesting, that post that you brought it up, because it just happened in that moment. I'm like, well, what is wealth for everyone? Because I had that question before, as you pointed out. I used to associate wealth with, I'm financially completely free in all aspects. And it's not, wealth is not just that, it's having it all, like Linda was saying. Say hi so you can have the attention, and then you can go on and move on.
Hello.
All right, cool. Now you're awesome, and go on. Please, okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys. So going through the, I've been doing a lot of personal growth, a lot, since I started my network marketing. And I was very surprised, Linda and Kevin and everyone, in many of them. And I was still surprised in one that I'm still categorizing myself low. And even Ryan said it in the module, us as women, right? That we always say, when you say beautiful, no. So I literally, not even thinking, I rated myself a 2 on that one still. And now I can look at myself in front of the mirror, to be honest with you all, and I still say automatically I will start saying, oh my God, this about me. And I'm like, no, you're beautiful. Look at you, how amazing you are. Because then I take out this body, because I know I am a soul having a human experience. So then I see the beauty in me in that moment. But when the affirmation, when Ryan said, you are beautiful, I'm like, don't start with me again. And but then when he was saying it, I literally wrote it out. I am beautiful, for example. And I was surprised that I put an 8 where it says I am brilliant. Before I couldn't even say that, I'm like, for stuff like I am successful, I went up too on a 6. I put it 6 there, for example. I'm worthy. I'm still, for me, receiving is still a challenge. I rather give than receiving. And I just had that experience with a good friend of mine, virtual friend still, but I know she exists. Eventually I will meet all of you eventually, physically speaking. And she just gifted me something awesome. And I was about to say, oh my God, no, I got to pay her back, right? But it came out of her heart. And when I said, it's okay, you feel like it, go. And she thanked me, and I felt it. So, yeah, wealth, it's everywhere, but I'm still surprised that I still rate myself down. And I know it's a lie, and it's a good lie, like Ryan was saying, and Kevin, and which is another reason why I challenged myself with a colorful picture that you were saying, Ryan, that I left my natural wavy hair because I never really liked my hair per se. And I always have it in ponytails like I have now because it's just me. And now I'm learning to be grateful of me and my hair. And literally, I always say that at the end. I'm still working on my 100 great gratitude. And I always end up saying I am grateful of me, because if I didn't say yes to this, then I will not be able to learn from you all and share, with you all. So that's what I have.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. When you guys were talking about that, there's an assessment that we want to put together that we actually got out of a book, and where people are always looking for balance. People are always like, man, how can I find balance in my life and balance my business and all that stuff. It's kind of what I posted on here. It's around your body, your finances in terms of financial education and just understanding how money works. And that's completely different than the money that you have. Having a good understanding of how credit works and how debt works and how money flows and how to attract money and all that stuff, and relationships and family and spirituality and your mental health and your lifestyle, the things that you do outside of your business, and just getting out. What extra curricular activities do you get involved in? Those kind of things. That's so important, and we've got this assessment that we'll be working on giving to you guys, that you guys will really enjoy. I know Monica said, can you explain more on homework to making the video, how you want to help people? Can you elaborate just a little bit? Or actually, yeah, Monica, if you want to come out, feel free to unmute yourself too. This is what this is for.
Can you hear me?
I can. You doing okay tonight?
I am doing all right.
Awesome.
I got some background little kiddos around, but to elaborate more, when I was going through this module, I guess I didn't understand, because I understand the affirmations, I understand the I ams. I've done a lot of that in the past. So that part was clear for me. But when you were talking about the second homework assignment about how you want to help people, okay, calm me down. So I'm just like what?
So
I just don't get it.
So what I mean by that is have you heard? Because I think I've talked about this a few times, and you may have caught it or not. But when you Kevin just hit on it. It's really just about including other people in your vision. And, you know, a lot of us, that's not the first thing that we're taught when we come into the industry, isn't vision. However, it's, you know, the most important thing that you can possibly have. It's the most important tool. That perfect day exercise is it's the most important tool to everything that I've ever learned and teach and will ever implement inside of my life and business. And a lot of times, you know, we explain that in the beginning, in certain stages, it is about you. The vision that you create is all about you. Okay. But the next big vision is the one that includes other people. The one that really steps up and says, you know what, I'm going to help 100 people lose 25 pounds this year. You know what I mean? And it's you believing that. It's that story. It's you getting behind that. It's you, you know, having the plan, the outline to do that. It's you having the confidence and saying, you know what, I'm going to step up. You know, I had a client today. You know, he gets really passionate about like retirement and financial stuff, and you know that's what he gets passionate about. And you've got to decide what you're going to put your cape on for. Who are you going to suit up for? Who does Superman help? You know, Superman helps the person that can't help himself, right? Like all these superheroes, they help a certain person, the person that can't stand up for themselves. So like for you and your audience and your message, you have to decide, like you're here because you're ready to step up and say, you know what, I'm going to put that cape on for blank audience. I'm going to put that mask on for this audience. I'm going to stand up for something. And you also have to decide what's the wrong you're going to like stand up for, because people don't get behind these superheroes just because they're awesome and they really look good in spandex. You know, they get behind them because they stand up for something that most people are afraid to stand up for. And they're willing to put their neck out on the line and say, you know what, I'll stand up to this, and I'll find a solution for this. If you're not at the ability or you're afraid to, I'll give you the strength to say, you know what, if you won't, I will, and I'll show you how.
Got it.
Does that make more sense, Monica?
Yeah, it does make more sense. I already wrote down what I'm going to do a video on.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and that's one thing, you know, if we can, you know, when we redo this course, I mean, if we can be more clear about, you know, that kind of stuff, definitely, guys, just let us know.
I guess I needed an example.
Okay, and we'll do a better job of that too. We'll definitely provide way more examples too.
Yeah, I'm clear.
Okay, good deal. And just realize, guys, I mean, it is about you in the beginning, you know, because these are things that you need to decide on, areas that you want to change about your life. You know what I mean? You got to put your foot down and say, I'm going to change this about my relationship or my body or my finances or my business or my lifestyle or my mental, the way that I think, or my relationship with God or you know, my relationship with my family. That first vision is the one that you decide that I'm going to change in my life. You know what I mean? And then once you have that plan, you say, okay, you know what, I made that decision. Once you make that decision, you can now include other people. Once you've stuck your foot down on the ground and say, you know what, I planted my flag, I'm going to do this. I will lose 50 pounds. You know what I mean? And I planted that flag, and you got the game plan, you got the mentors, you got the coaches, you got the people around you, you got the vision. You've now given yourself permission to include other people. Whether it's including, you know, I want to help 50 people lose 10 pounds. Who cares if somebody says no? It doesn't matter. All that means is they just weren't supposed to be part of that vision right now. You know? So hopefully that makes sense. I appreciate that question, Monica, because I'm definitely sure that other people had that, and I'm sure that it's going to push people to do their videos and do their posts and reach out to people, sharing how they're going to help people at work, and realize too, guys, like, and I'll leave it at this, but when you do that, it almost makes you it makes you look like kind of an expert to people. And someone that's going to specialize in something. And remember, people that specialize in something, that's how you get referrals. You know, like if someone came to you and like, let's say a real estate agent came to you and they were just amazing at their job. And they said, hey, Monica, like, I really want you to buy this house. And you're saying, well, you know what, honestly, I'm not in the market for a house. But if you knew how awesome they were and you had a lot of respect for that person, the first thing you do is be like, hey, but if I know anybody that needs a house, I'll shoot them your way, right? So that's how we have to be, like on the phone or you know, via text or Zoom call or whatever. Anybody that we hook up to, we have to make sure that we are coming off as, like, you know, the person that's going to specialize in something and stand up for something. That way, that person knows they don't have to buy your stuff, but they'll definitely start referring you to people that could buy your stuff. You know, like there's plenty of people that don't like or really could care less about network marketing. However, if they know somebody that wants to join a network marketing business, guess where they send them? You know, and that can go for any area of your life. It doesn't have to be like, oh, okay, well, you know, network marketing. It could go for anything. It could be hair growth. It could be, you know, teeth whitening. I mean, who cares? So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that helps. And yeah, so take it away.
I do have a question, and I had a lesson about not being so reverse engineer in detail. Tremendous one. Good, tremendous one. Yeah. When you're saying videos, post in our page, Facebook page, or all over in the group. Am I going to detail again?
No, I mean, I would, to me, I would post it the place that you're gonna get the most views, you know, and get and be able to make the most impact. I would say on your personal page is probably where I would do that, and in any community that you feel as if you can make an impact or you can help people. At the end of the day, if it's positive, if it's encouraging, if it's inspirational, you know, you can't frown upon that in any community. So again, I mean, it's your duty to get your message out. It's your duty to let people know, I mean, what you're feeling. And guys understand that, like, you know, I know some of us here, video may not be the most powerful or our most, you know, go-to thing, right? But you just continue to get better at it. You know, I mean, I wish I could show you my first video, guys. You know, I wish you could see, like, the camera was horrible. Like, it was miserable. Miserable. I had a script and everything. And it took me, I think, an hour to do a 2-minute video. It's horrible. It was miserable. Like, I remember, like, oh my goodness, man. Funny. But I'm telling you guys, I mean, you're going to get better. So, like, don't, again, these are these little things that can creep up that can, like, have you creep towards perfection instead of progress.
And the other thing real quick, which makes total sense, what you were saying, makes more sense now. And thank you, Monica, for the question. Because I understand, for example, one of my passions is to help others in my ways. Now that I understand, it's through inspiration. But I was going to ask you, I was not going to ask you, I was going to point this out. Ryan, today you post who was your first wine, and you were grateful, and you were thanking him for that. And I'm going to be a little bit humble and vulnerable here because my son will hear me. And it makes so much sense when you were explaining, you know, your first vision, which that was yours. And then, of course, the second one, how you're going to help within that vision. And when I was not ready to be a mother, and not only that, when he was born, my husband was a boy, and then he became a vision. And he's my everything. At the same time, I'm learning not to be so protective. But when you posted that, and I read that, and I look at him, and he's so funny sometimes. Like, he can be annoying or whatever, you know, but I still love him no matter what. I understood clearly more when you were explaining to Monica how your vision comes first and your passion to help others, right? And then you be open about it, and it's okay is we are also taught to be so private when it comes to things like that, because what they're going to say, or
Right.
how dare you even feel that way, stuff like that. So it's so clear in me now, because when I read that of you, I just loved your son. His energy is so cute and so amazing, because he reminds me of June. So when I saw that picture, I was like, oh my God, that's, it makes sense. I don't know if, Monica, this is helping you, but then for me, when Ryan was explaining to you, when you're including others within your vision, I was thinking how I can help inspire others to create that happiness in their life with the vehicle that I have now.
Yeah.
So in this, with my network marketing, and now what Ryan is teaching us, marketing, because it will help everyone in general.
And guys, to touch on that, Cindy, I mean, I did a video today about, crafting stories. I don't know if you saw it or not, but I'll post it in the group if you guys missed it. But the most inspirational thing you can do is to tell your story and craft that story in a way that is that people can really get behind it. That's what you want to do. You want to use platforms like video and post and whatever, you blog, YouTube videos, whatever. Use your platform to tell your story, whether it's in an email, whether it's little pieces. You can put this story together. And the cool thing is, once you do it enough and you're consistent with it, other people start telling your story. Okay. And that's when it gets powerful, and you've got to learn. And most people, when I say stuff like that, the immediate thing is, I don't have a story, or who would want to hear my story, right? And you've got to take some time to do this, because what's going to happen, and this is from experience, but what's going to happen is you're going to remember things from like years ago. You have to really think about these stories, think about the epiphany moments. And like, you have to really, just can't say, oh, hey, write this thing out and be done with it. There's going to be like aha moments. You're going to be like, holy crap. Like I used to tell my story, and even today, like I was telling my story and I was like writing some things down, and it made me go back to this moment where I was like, holy crap, that was my epiphany moment. When I was sitting in this office at this wood mill, and I looked at the guy next to me, and he was 65 years old, and I said, I ain't doing this shit till I'm 65. I'll be damned. I make more money than he does. So that was my epiphany moment, right? But for years, I told this story without telling that little piece. So you got to like really dig deep inside of like things that have happened inside of your life, inside your family, inside your business, because we've all had these epiphany moments, right? But we don't see them as epiphany moments. We just think that, okay, cool, I believe this now, right? Like, oh yeah, I just believe network marketing is awesome now, right? Or I believe that, that lies are all lies are lies, or whatever, right? Like, and then you have this moment, but we don't share that in a way that other people can have their epiphany moment. And when other people have their epiphany moment, that's when they start putting all the logical stuff together. Like, yeah, I should probably buy this, or yeah, I should probably do this, or yeah, I should do this. Okay. So look for places you can share your story. Okay. And spend some time crafting your story. You deserve it. It's your story. Again, we always talk about, if your life is worth living, it's worth journaling, right? Right. But nobody wants to read a boring story. You could, movies, you could say, Titanic, hey, they built a big boat, they partied on it, it sunk, it was awesome, right? Like, nobody want to hear that. Right? Like, huge boat, huge party, they divided up, poor people, rich people, dude, held some girl over, they sang a song, and they hit an iceberg, right? Movie over. No, but like, you can go into detail. That's why authors, they'll take 3 pages just to describe the scenery, right? And that's what you've got to do sometimes too, is like captivate people in a story. And that's what I'm telling you, that's what wins you. You can learn how to tell stories. It's a done deal. a done deal. But a lot of us, even when we tell stories in like three-way calls, or we're trying to edify someone in our company, like let's just say, for instance, like, hey, if I tell like one of my upline stories, like this this high school dropout deadbeat dude, you're making $130,000 a month now or something, and people are like, okay, cool, like awesome, right? But if you craft the environment, right? Like if you craft the environment, man, so I hooked up with this guy who's my upline now, but in high school, this guy used to just hang out with the baddest crowds, right? And he used to always catch him outside just smoking. He wasn't doing anything with his life. And, one of his teachers came out and said, you know what, man, you're never going to do anything. You're never going to amount to anything. And so he's in this place where he's just feeling like, like his life is just going nowhere. He's got these, dead-end jobs. He's not doing anything with his life. And all of a sudden, a friend called him. And he almost didn't take the phone call. So the phone's ringing, it rings. And it rings, and he looks at it, and he almost doesn't take that phone call. But then he decides to take the phone call and meet the guy for coffee. And, he's pulling into the parking lot, and he's just like, man, another day, another thing, right? And he goes and meets the guy, and it's the first time he'd seen network marketing, the first time he got involved in something and said, you know what, my life can be a little different. And you fast forward 15 years in the industry now, the dude is making $142,000. He's helped so many people. And to think just 15 years ago, there's a guy that, his idea of a fun night was just smoking cigarettes behind the bleachers at a football game. You see the difference? And did it take way longer? Is your prospect going to be like, oh my God, about time you're done? Jeez, wouldn't made some popcorn because I figured this story was going to suck. But it takes time to learn how to like craft these stories. But talk to the people on your team, talk to the people in your businesses. I mean, if you hear a cool story, like reach out to them and interview them. One thing that I would love to see people do as we wrap up. People always post like the Transformation Tuesday pics, and like, it's most of the time it's not them, right? And, they don't really go that far. Okay. How about go find the person and interview? Like how about go find the person that just had a transformation and start asking some questions about their story, right? And not only will that be awesome on your wall, but then you can start to learn some little insights about their story that you can then share with all the people that you talk to. Just saying. So wrapping up, did anybody else have any other questions or concerns about Module 3? You guys enjoying the course so far, going back, and for those of you that are going back through it? Good stuff. Good deal. So any other questions before we shut it down for the night?
I just want to share one quick thing about the story, Cindy. When I did mine the first time, I had my vision written down and I didn't video it. When I did do the video the first time, I didn't want to go live with it, so I just did it on my phone, and then I went back and watched it. And as you're watching it and as you're honing it in, I was also trying to avoid kind of like one of these, just spitting, throwing my thing out there, so I kind of wanted to. So as I watched it, it's kind of like going through your chants, right? You're kind of going through those, and you actually, the more you hear it, the more it kind of becomes a part of you, until it gets to a point where I didn't need a script or anything to go through my story. And then I could also expand on different parts of it as I was going through, and it felt a lot more natural. So yeah, the first time I did it, I recorded it and I watched it, and then as I'm watching it, that's also reviewing it. And then I could see things where I wanted to go back and improve on it, and I wouldn't say just, eventually you got to get to some point where you throw it out there, but I wanted to avoid some of the things that I saw other people doing that I know I didn't want to do. Mm-hmm. And so I did that. I recorded it first.
Yeah, and that's all about progress. That's all about progress. Just being the quarterback of your life and saying, you know what, like, I'm not gonna kick myself. I'm not gonna get down on myself, but I'm just gonna look for little places I can improve, while always celebrating those little wins, always celebrating the things that you're getting better at, all that stuff. So,
You know, I got to say that kind of happened to me too. I have a ketogenic lifestyle group, and I'm not really introducing my product or anything. It's just about the way of eating, and I wanted to put my story in, and I did it so many times. I just put in the chat that it took me 2 hours to do a 4-minute video. Part of the reason was that I was trying to get it under like 4 minutes. I didn't want it to be like 6 minutes long, or I didn't want it to be so long. But I kept saying the same stuff over and over and over again, and that was really building my truth, this is my story. This is it felt good to keep saying that stuff over and over again about how I've lost so much weight, about how my labs went down, about that I struggled like you did. And even though I was like, my voice was getting tired and all that, by the time I got it to where I got it down to 4 minutes and 12 seconds, and I said, okay, it's good. I'm not going to try anymore. I felt really good about my story because like Kevin said, it was like saying your affirmations over and over again. I've had success. I know what I'm doing. I want to teach others how to do the same thing. So it really kind of gave me, confirmation that I'm on the right path, really.
Mm-hmm. And you are. That's
yeah.
As soon as you've locked in on any type of vision, understand that you are on the right path. Whether it feels like you're not or not, you're not. You trust that you are. So that's awesome. So again, guys, continue to share things and let us know, breakthroughs and aha moments and all that stuff throughout the course. If you see something that you'd like to improve, or you just don't understand, or you want more examples on, definitely let us know, because we will. We're looking to put the final project together, or at the end of, or we're going to launch the final project in January. So we'll be done by the end of December. So appreciate you guys hanging on tonight, and we'll see you guys next week for week 4. All right. See you guys. Have a good night. Bye.